Good afternoon and welcome to East Lancashire Hospital's NHS Trust live event on digital education careers. My name is Madison Barker. I'm going to help coordinate the event for our presenters, Tom Whittaker, Jem Adams and Connor Watson-Reed. This event includes information on digital careers available in education teams within the NHS and technology enhanced learning. Also, a question and answer session with our professionals. Please type your questions into the Q&A box and we will answer at the end of the presentation. Please note this event is being recorded and will be available to view via our education website at a later date. If you have any questions about past or future events, please email us on nhscareers@elht.nhs.uk. I will now hand over to Tom, who is our TEL Service Support Manager. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Madison. So like Madison said, I'm the Technology Enhanced Learning Services Support Manager. So I recently taken up the role, but I look after the whole of the Technology Enhanced Learning team, and so the tech that we work on, the projects we work on, and I kind of got into the NHS through university. I went to uni for 4 years, going in with the intention of I'm going to work on films at the end of it, I'm going to do all the big budget stuff. And it wasn't until my third year, which was actually a placement year, where I actually did a placement for the university I was attending at, that was creating this kind of e-learning, but from a university standpoint. And so that single year kind of made me go, oh, well, films are amazing, but there's no immediate benefit from them. Whereas the stuff we build, the technology enhanced learning we work on, has an effect on people. So on that reasoning, I kind of started looking into this field, and so 6 years ago I was lucky enough to get a digital learning developer job then. And 6 years in now, I'm looking after the guys as they do their stuff. And so kind of throughout, we're working on that much new, different, immersive technology that you're always going to be kind of hands-on. How can this new tech that's come out be groundbreaking for whatever we want to do, or how can it have an immediate impact on patients through our staff inadvertently? I know the best example I can use for that will be the proning for conscious patient video that we worked on. And so what that was we worked on a video with the acute care team of our trust. Basically, they acknowledge that there's a way of proning unconscious patients, and that would normally help with their suffering when they were going through anything regarding the acute care team. And so they highlighted that the same techniques can be used, but they can be used on conscious patients who are suffering from COVID, and it helps release some stress and on the lungs, especially during this time. So we created this quite early on. So I'll just so it's kind of these techniques that I'm going to showcase in a second. We were one of the first trusts to do it. If you search on YouTube, I think we're on 13,000 views right now. Because at the heat of COVID, this has only just been discovered, and we were the first ones to jump on and say, look, we need to get this out there. And then one of our colleagues has said that someone they knew, their brother was affected by COVID, and it wasn't looking good. But luckily, the nurses looking after had done the training required to create from this video, and that inadvertently they used the techniques they found, and it ended up not only making what they were going through a lot easier, they also had a massive recovery from what looked like it was going the wrong way to suddenly be like it never happened, which is the most, for me, it's the one that has the most immediate look. What we did affects people, not just what we do. No, you're never going to know how it affected someone. This was, for me, one of the biggest ones that had the ripple effects. And alongside that, we're now looking at stuff with virtual reality. So how can we say where you can be in the mindset of a person who is currently trying to empathise with the way they're going through something. So we're using 360 cameras and virtual reality. So this is one of our early virtual reality 360 camera shots where it lets you simulate the room without being there. And so we can we're still early doors looking to simulated environments, which when I started was the stuff of sci-fi stuff, movies that was going to come, but not in our lifetime. It's too far ahead. And now this is kind of our daily, everyday working is VR and AR and that kind of sharing. I think, Gemma, I know you should probably back us up a bit more with some of what you're working on at the moment, so I'll hand over to you. That's okay.
So I'm Gem. I attended university in my hometown Bolton. I was there for 3 years. I did graphic design. Following uni, I did some volunteering, and then eventually I got involved in digital inclusion, which I absolutely loved, helping people improve themselves with IT skills. However, the pandemic hit and it just didn't have the same appeal because we're all working from home, so it was very restrictive. So I started looking for another job, and I typed in digital in Indeed, and there was a few things that popped up, but this particular role stuck out, and I applied for it. You know, you never really sort of think you're going to get it, you hope you do, and here I am. I'm absolutely loving it. I've been here for about 4 months now, and I've been predominantly working on a project with a team called CPET, which stands for Clinical Placement Expansion Project. And we've been utilising a HoloLens, which is it's like smart glasses, like the Google smart glasses and the Oculus, think that kind of thing. I do have a few pictures to show you. Yes, this is a HoloLens. Like I said, it's worn on the head. And initially, the project has been about giving students more opportunities with clinicians to train to become whatever clinician they want. So, like nurses, physiotherapists, we're hoping to reach out with podiatrists as well. What initially started the whole craze with the HoloLens in medicine was when COVID hit. Like for instance, Morecambe Bay utilised the HoloLens to interact with patients as safely as possible on COVID positive wards. So rather than have a full team of staff doing the ward round, they could have one clinician walk around and interact with the patients. And there's cameras on the top, so whatever the patient says or does, it's streamed back to clinicians in an office, say. So that was the initial concept, using that live stream mode to give students a similar opportunity. They could sit at home or somewhere safe and they can watch whatever the clinician's doing. So for instance, if a nurse is performing a particular procedure such as catheterization or just changing a bandage, they can wear the headset and stream that to the student at home. So it's being developed in that sense, but my colleagues are also working on projects with it. So there is a lot going on around it. I do have a couple of pictures to show you. Right, so this is a clinician in Morecambe Bay wearing the headset. They got PP'd up and just walked around the ward and streamed everything back to colleagues. Now, another thing we have noticed with the HoloLens are these incredible apps. So this is from Hollow Anatomy. This is Cheryl. She's a midwife. And in reality, we couldn't see the skeleton. All we could see was Cheryl stood there with HoloLens on. But this is what Cheryl could see. So these kind of apps with the skeletons and stuff, they're quite educational. We're finding there's a lot of potential here for training students, which again, it's all digital. We're embracing the whole digital aspect to improve student training opportunities. And again, there's like some videos and stuff being made, but I'm going to let Connor take over now.
Thanks, Gemma. Hiya, Connor.
Cheers, Gemma. Hi, so my name is Connor Watson-Reid, and I am the Assistant Digital Marketing Developer at ELHT. So my job largely consists of e-learning creation, e-learning course. E-learning courses are like PowerPoint presentation courses, but they've got the online element and the interactive element where a static PowerPoint presentation, just like I said, would be static. So it's got a lot more interactivity, and it's really to engage the learner a lot more. And then there's the second part of my job, which I'll go into, which is based around virtual reality. So I'll just share you a quick example of e-learning. Okay. So what we'll receive is a PowerPoint presentation from what we call an SME, which is a subject matter expert. And then it's really our job to try and create something a bit more special out of it. So we'll try and put the crux of it. Obviously, you don't want every slide to be interactive. Then you can come to bits like this. So I decided to make a interaction here using a brain where you can click on the different parts. And what it will do is it'll tell you what that part of the brain is responsible for and what damage to this area may cause. And this is an example of a bit of graphic design that you'll get to do involved in a job like this. This, in essence, is just 6 images put over each other, and they're all kind of layering on top of each other. So as you can see, they're all filling up there. And then just another example of an interaction. Dropping this microscope onto here will bring up a fact for the audience to read. So that is the main part of my job. It's creating these courses, trying to make them as interactive as possible. And then only as recent as this year, I do have a second part to my job, which is very interesting, and it involves virtual reality. So if we just go to here. So Tom briefly mentioned about 360 images and what we can do with them. So I've been playing with a way that we can use these 360 images to create a virtual reality experience where someone can put a headset on, and in essence, as I'm dragging the mouse here, this will be someone's head, and they'll have a headset on and they'll be able to look round, and there'll be options for stuff to click. So as I said, there was a little pointer at the start then that mentioned click anything to do with fire safety. So if you look at these little bits, something up there, oh yeah, got one there, as it says in corner, hidden items. So that's something I've been playing around with, adding a mini map to it. And then you can move along with the arrows here. You can check out the different parts of the map. These are all detailed on the mini map. Yeah, and it's playing with these ideas and what we can do with it. This is as simple as, this is a video that I've put in. So this is 2 layers again, like I said earlier in that other video. And yeah, it's pretty incredible the opportunities we're getting in this team to be able to do this stuff. So I would highly recommend any opportunity to get into this team, because especially after, especially during the COVID pandemic, obviously digital has become digital first now. So yeah, it's really the best time to be getting into a career like this.
Could you tell us about how you actually got a career in the NHS?
Yes, so the way I got a career was different to both Gemma and Tom, in the way that mine was an apprenticeship. So I was looking for a job in a similar fashion, which was digital marketing, and then I saw the NHS was putting out for a digital marketing apprentice. However, I could see the job role was a bit different and it varied a lot. So yeah, it was a case of applying for this, and yeah, so that's the route I took to get in.
Fantastic. Okay. So you've progressed quite quickly, Connor, as well, haven't you? From going for an apprentice and then up and upwards.
Yeah, well, as I was saying, with the NHS becoming very much digital first now, due to the COVID pandemic, the scope for progression is just it's gone forward years. So whereas this may have taken me 3 or 4 more years in the job to get to where I've got to, it's taken 3 or 4 years less. Yeah. So it's really a great time to get in.
Tom, can I just ask you about proning? I know you showed us a video, but what actually is it?
So proning, well, they identified at the acute care team, the initial way proning was used, where there was an unconscious patient who maybe had breathing difficulties, or the reason that they were admitted was regarding something with their lungs. They used proning, almost like putting them in the recovery position. You put them into a proned position so it would soften either the suffering or would open up the airways so that they were going to always have the ability to breathe, or at least an easier way of breathing. And so they said, right, but these are proven to work with unconscious patients. Why has no one ever thought about using it with COVID patients? I know it's quite early on, but no one had mentioned it at the time, and we were already maybe a month and a half, 2 months into it, and no one had even thought this could do something. And that's kind of where that came about. I know, I think it was Gary in the acute care team pitched it, or was part of a conference call where it was being said, look, this is a way forward. And that's kind of how it came to us. Gary came saying, look, we need to get this out because it's a way that will work. It's been proven to work, and the way things were at the time, we need something because it's not looking promising. And so that's when we jumped on, and I think that was maybe a week turnaround. I think we had 1 day of filming with just Gary, one of his colleagues to pretend to be our patient, and then the rest were just editing it, getting it out there, and then being kind of the first trust out there to get something to say, look, this training exists, this solution exists. And 13,000 people clearly tuned in and went, yeah, you know what, you've got a point there. Because there's not even 13,000 people in our trust alone, which shows that it got a bit of a widespread. But yeah, that's proning mainly.
Thank you. And have you got anything else in the pipeline coming up that's similar?
Not exactly similar to proning. We have got a lot more, kind of touching on what Connor said, VR wise. We are looking at some stuff regarding clinical skills, and so it's how can we do it where nurses can learn to do like cannulations, but without having to be on site for some of it, so they can actually simulate the environment that they're doing. So they could wear, say, a headset like this and do the entire training and still feel immersed enough without having to find time to get off work to get over to a certain training centre with certain resources available. We build almost a simulation of that. I know we're doing that especially for Lifesaver. There is one out there at the moment with Daisy Ridley from Star Wars in the video years before she got big, that is still actively used as the kind of how to do resuscitation and using the Lifesaver. That they have a VR we're looking at implementing here and use that more frequently. And like kind of said, we're building some more 360 stuff, and the HoloLens allows us to do more hollow anatomy style approaches of overlaying the skeleton that Gemma showed you on the body to say, right, where exactly are they hurt, and saving, kind of making it where digital isn't an afterthought or a forced solution like it was in the past year, but a normalised way of doing stuff. Because we do get it where people say, oh, I'm not good with computers, but they'll happily go at home and they'll go on Amazon or they'll scroll through Netflix, which means you're good with the computer you know, not the one that's alien to you. So we kind of want to make it, that our whole kind of thing is, right, how can we make it where that's so normal that the head says, oh, that exists, before going to the traditional route of learning something.
Thank you very much. So this is a perfect opportunity now to ask our professionals any questions. So please use that Q&A box because they're here, they're waiting for you, any questions that you might have. Just whilst we're waiting for a question to come in, can I just ask all three of you, what does a typical day look like for you? Which I know is probably going to be really hard to answer, but just so these guys can get an insight into what, like, you know, a typical day might be. Who wants to go first? I'm going to say, Tom, do you want to answer that one first?
Yeah, I'll give it a start. My typical day has changed a little bit now, because it used to be you come in and you'd work on what you were developing on, but I'm not. I'm more the means to get these guys the big projects now. So sometimes I'll be coming in and jumping into a video we're editing or an e-learning I've been working on. 9 times out of 10, it's getting an example up and saying, look, you want something like this, how about we do it 10 times better in this version? And then either, if it's not myself working on it, passing that over to Connor or some of the members of our team, or Gemma, whoever's got the kind of the best skill set for that project, saying, right, we've got a video project going through, Connor, you're the best at video, we'll give it to you, that kind of stuff. Currently, at least, that's the way it's going. It could all change, but that's my current kind of a day in the life of. Connor?
Yeah, so for me, I'd say it's very much split. So as I gave examples earlier of my two, it's kind of like 2 job roles in one. I kind of split my time halfway. I might do the morning e-learning project. The afternoon, I'll look on virtual reality, and I'll spend some time researching some new things to bring to that side. So it does, yeah, mine's very varied, and it all depends on the projects we've got on, because sometimes I might take priority of others. Yeah, so big split for me. Send you over.
Thanks, Connor.
Right. So typical days, normally first thing, check your email, because no doubt you'll have plenty to go through. And then it's a case of checking what appointments, meetings you've got planned for the day, and then just working your schedule around things like that are set in stone. One of the great things about this role is it is reasonably flexible, but then you are also expected to be flexible for other people if they're being that way for yourself. So yeah, once done all the admin type tasks, it's a case of looking what's the priority within your workload, and then just getting on it. So HoloLens is my main project at the minute, but you know, there are other things as well that I need to do for other things, like an animation video for somebody's presentation. But yeah, it literally varies, and one of the best things is you can jump from thing to thing. So if you get a little bit fed up of doing video editing, you can jump on something like Affinity and start doing some editorial type work. It's one of the best things though, by far, is the flexibility.
Thank you very much, Gemma. So we haven't had any questions come in, but if anybody does have any questions, or once we finish the event, please do feel free to email us. I will put the email address in the chat box for you, so you can copy that. But thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time out this afternoon and giving people an insight into what you do every day. And hopefully we've inspired some young people to think about a career in the NHS. So thank you very much, everyone.